All right, we're going to try this. Copied. Send this to Cobra. If he joins, then we'll see what happens. Now we have duplicating streams. This is hilarious. If you guys are watching my live stream, this is wild. No one's here yet, so thank God. We're just trying to help Cobra out. This is pretty funny. I thought you were diving out. Well, if you're tuning into this live stream with me, Black Cobra was trying to have us on his stream, but he made kind of a fatal error by updating his software like a few hours ago. For what it's worth, never update your software right before a show. Bad idea. So I suggested we do this over on my channel because I got the old software. But he's still streaming over there, as you can see. He's still streaming. This is, man, Archie predicted the clown show, didn't he? For those of you that know Archie out in Boston. He's still reading. This is quite funny.
The S20 though. This is all from EUC Vibes. Mickey got a dope setup. Looks like.
All right, I'm gonna send it to Hsiang.
He does have the ambiance. His office is dope. So I'm hoping I don't know.
Log out, bro.
But Mickey is going to try to live stream.
All right, guys. He's coming now. He's coming. Don't worry.
Vibes, you crazy.
He's coming. We lost everybody. We're down to 2 people. We gotta save it. We gotta save it.
The Masters, the Ducati.
He's still going with it.
It might be, but the problems I have is it still looks like a ripoff, and it's still a Bigot, so we don't know quite what's what with it. You know, we
Kill
just
your
don't
stream,
know.
bruh.
So I gotta give the master a chance. You do have to give it a chance. I mean, I always look at things.
You
and
got
go,
6 people watching your stream via my stream. This is hilarious.
Until I know.
Kill it, bro.
I've ridden it,
I'm waiting for you.
me
We're going live. Kill it, Cobra. What is this clown show?
Details, but we'll see. So the S20's coming soon, so that's why I'm like, it is what it is.
Yeah, we're talking about all the new wheels, all the suspension wheels.
Right,
we're trying, though.
Hold up. Yes. Okay. Oh, no. No, it is. It's still in it. All right, so we're going to...
This is hilarious. Cobra, you told me to start a stream.
Getting the S20 in 4 weeks. All right.
What's up, Jean Jose Garcia Molina? What's up, Jose? Cobra, I'm going to kill this stream if you don't jump over now. Can you hear me, bro?
I can hear you.
Great. I don't know. We were like, let's just do it on mine. It's not working.
Okay.
We're live, so everybody can see us. We got quite a few thumbs down because I sat here for 5 minutes while Cobra was still streaming on his channel.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, gosh. All right. He should be here any second, hopefully.
I hear myself feeding back on this app. It's a little bit weird.
You have headphones?
No, it's
some Huawei
I don't even
headphones.
I'm running it off of the laptop now.
Gotcha. Everyone says they can hear us loud and clear, though.
Let me try going with my computer and see what happened there.
Now we can see your house. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Anyway, so we're talking about the new suspension wheels. I think Cobra's heading over here soon. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've been following all the latest suspension announcements, which one you're leaning towards. I personally am leaning towards the Master by Begode slash Gotway. I was not at all leaning towards the EX20, whatever the heck it's called. And I was definitely not into the Hero. I think Cobra was kind of into the Hero. But let's see what you guys are into. I can see your comments here. All right, what's up? What's up, EUC Lifer? Oh, Simon says Cobra is heading over. Hopefully we can hear Cobra. Oh, I think it's like his update he did to his program. I did not do the update. So let's see. Sean is joining us back again.
Right? Can you hear me?
I
Can you hear
hear
me?
you just
Yes.
loud and clear.
Right. Okay.
Oh, we're just barreling through these comments. What's up, Malcontent Youth? What's up? Glad to see you too. Francisco says, "You're good, Sean. You're good."
Okay. So is he gonna jump on? Like, what is this? Is
If
very
not, then I just
confusing.
stole his stream, and we're just going to talk about the suspension wheels, I guess. So Steve-O says, "I want the Master." I asked the guys before you jumped in what they're most looking forward to out of these new sus wheels, as I'm calling them. Sliders and Gliders says S20 Eagle. All right, all right. I'm definitely in the Eagle camp. I think the Master has won my heart in the last few 48 hours.
It doesn't take much, does it?
Well, it's like
134 volt.
I know. And that speed. That speed is the fastest unicycle to date, right?
Right. All on a torque motor, which means that when the high speed motor does come out, 60 miles per hour, Mickey.
60. That's a lot.
Oh, no such thing. Come on. This just means that we need the next level after this. It
I
just
know,
keep
I
going
know.
up.
Well,
It's
that's what we've all
never
been
ending.
saying. They hate us for that, right? We're like, we need more, faster, more. And they're like, no, stop, stop. A lot of people here, like in the S20, oh, look, this guy, EUC Lifer, likes the 2S. Oh, because he wants more battery. Fair enough. That is one thing that I thought was strange about the Master. It's like 2400, I think. It's like less than the EX2S. I found
I
that
think it's the
interesting.
configuration of the cells. I think it's
Oh,
just like
okay.
when they go to like 134 volt, like the way the cells, is kind of matched. Like it would you wouldn't have a 3600 watt hour if you want to go with um thir 134 volt. I think that's like the next level up. Like so that's 4 pack, and each pack is like 600 watt hour.
Mm, right.
So that means like you will have to go with like 6 pack, and then you will end up with like what is that? It would be it was still wait it would be 3600, but you wouldn't it would be 3600, and then it would be but then they will have to configure the cell differently. I don't know. I can't
Right.
figure this out.
All right. We're
The
going to put
the
him
the
in.
electric nerds would do it.
Hey, we hear you, Cobra.
What? Yeah, this is nuts.
We
Okay.
saved the day. That's all right. Everyone's back. We got 27 people here. That was more than you had on the stream when it was dying. So we got your fans back. They are here for you.
So,
You can take
now
over.
I don't I don't have. I'm getting an echo though. Hold on. Let me see if
Well, you can't exactly take over.
let's do that. So there we go. No, I still get the echo. Great.
You sound okay to us, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Well, that's the key, I guess, right?
I'm going to pull up Jean Jose Garcia Molina's comment. He said, "Of course, we all have. For long range, EX2S is the best option for 3600 watt hours. The Master is the best for city. S20 best for heavy off road." Now that's fascinating. We should dive into that in 10 seconds, but I'll put it out there for us. Out of all these suspension wheels that have ever come out, what do you guys in the comments and you two here in the stream think about off-road versus street? Because everyone I talk to on the internet is always like, well, this looks promising, but X, Y, and Z reason it might be awful for off-road. And I'm like, do you guys only think suspension can only apply to off-road? Like, I think it can be both. like cars have suspension in them and they ride on the street. So what do
Right.
you guys think?
This is the thing that people like. I feel like I have to keep repeating myself. Like the suspension is just to increase like wheel contact with the road. Like the
Mm,
reason why people use it for off road is because you have terrible surfaces. So when you have a suspension that keep the wheel, what the suspension is doing is that it's pressing the wheel into the road. It's cushy and making it
right.
more comfortable, but that's secondary. The main purpose is for it to push the wheel, the tire onto the road so you have maximum adhesion, and that helps regardless of where you're riding. It's helpful even if you're on the road because it
Yeah.
increase your torque, increase your surface contact, and
Right.
let you have better control.
Yes, and people say that all the time to me, and it's automatic because you see the spring, you see the shock, you think automatically this has got to be off road, and for me, I love off road anyway, so I'm like all in on the off road, but that's definitely not the only purpose for it. The main purpose, as Sean just said, is the to absorb the shock to help offset what you're actually riding on, no matter what that is, not just to be an off road wheel.
Right.
And a lot of people see that. No, I'm not buying that because I don't need that. And I'm like, okay. Um, but if you've been riding for a long time and if you plan on riding for a long time, and if you're like me at the older edge of the riders, you're thinking about that because long rides, I think about, I'm like, hey, if I had some suspension that help absorb this, it would be nice.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think that with like to just to point out another, sort of evil thing here. Mike Leahy has been jumping stuff, going off road for as long as we've known of him
Yep.
on non-suspension wheels, and suspension wheels exist currently, and he has yet to transition over. So, if you ask
True.
me, a suspension wheel is not like ipso facto. Now we do off road, right? It's like
Right.
it
And
can be
it's
done
not,
whatever.
yeah, and it's not you absolutely have to do it, but it is, and I don't want anyone to take away from the fact that I love off road. That is still my favorite thing, but I love a nice comfy suspension wheel, and I'm hoping that, excuse me, they get to the point where they can bring the two passions together and give me that nice suspension wheel that can also do off road, that can also do high speed, that can also give me the cushy ride I want with the power and torque that I want as well. Yes, I want it all.
What do you guys think about the almost like the millimeter travel war that's happening, right? So we have,
Mm,
each iteration. So we had S18 had X amount, like 70 millimeters, and then we had the V11, and they were like, oh, we've got 71 or whatever the hell they did, and then now, they're claiming, each of the companies keeps claiming a little bit more millimeters. Do
of
you think
course.
that is as important as they're making it out to be?
No, I don't. Sean, what do you think? I'll bat that one over to you.
I mean, in general, I'm gonna say that like the suspension design we have is just this is like still the early days. Like we're not nowhere close to it. I mean, what they did is that they basically put a mountain bike suspension on an
Mm,
EUC, and then they said, okay, here you go. But an EUC, and it's not a mountain bike. First of all, a mountain bike, people don't do like 50 miles an hour. Maybe downhill, but even then, you have two wheels, so the dynamic is very different. So it's, I think we're just starting to see it. And like people try to kind of understand it in terms of like mountain bike, suspension, but it's not really that. Like it just, the distance travel is sure, it's a part of it, but the actual suspension itself, how adjustable it is, whether or not it's a variable and whether or not it's like the preload. There's so many things involved than just travel distance.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned the preload situation that plays a big role into it, but I think eventually, I don't know. I think right now all of us are sort of guilty of when getting on these and trying a suspension wheel, like trying to see you're sort of A/B testing at all moments, right? So you're like,
Mhm.
you get on that V11 for the first time, and you're like, okay, I'm doing this thing. Does this feel better? And then you ride down the road, and then you're like, you go, you're like, I'm gonna hit that bump on purpose. Does this feel any different, right? Like, and I think to some level or another, that's ingrained in us. So I think stretching that out, that everyone is sort of like wanting to feel the suspension right now. I'd like to get to a point where I don't feel it at all. I don't even notice it, and it just like eats up bumps like your, luxury sedan car
Mhm.
might do it.
Yeah. So that it makes the adjustment almost like a calculation. That's what I want it to be able to calculate that bump, absorb it as much as it needs to, but not more than it needs to constrict and expand just enough to give you what you need and not more, so you don't get the pogo stick. And at the same time, make it where it's not something you have to think about, where it's just automatic, it's part of it, it's smooth, and
Mm.
it's meant to be. That's what I'm
And it
that's
has
you
to
know
be it
Go ahead.
has to be tuned for the purpose, that's the thing. Like it really varies on what you do. Like, for me it's just like, like imagine if you're like rolling down, like, the street, and you're like doing 40, right, and you're coming on a corner and you're trying to not lose speed, and you're trying to, go around this thing, and then you got a patch of terrible bumpy crappy pothole, surfaces. And right now, like, what you do without suspension is that you slow down. You don't want to die, so you're like, okay,
Yeah.
let me slow down, let me take this, absorb it. But in
Mhm.
the perfect world, if that suspension work as it should be able to absorb it and allow you to ride normally. You should be able to lean right
Mhm.
into it and still corner and still have your tire grip perfectly, and not like it's not even a matter of comfort. It is really a matter of like maintaining control and maintaining contact. So
Yeah.
if that wheel start
Mhm.
bouncing and start, going like pistoning up and down, or like, then it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Like it's, so it's
Yeah.
has to be that, but then but then what you need for like true like off-road ride, it's probably different also. So it's like you need something that is adjustable for each occasions.
Right.
Yeah. I and I
Um.
I think
Go ahead.
I think on another part of the equation now, right? Because we have all these new wheels, which we should be mystical about and talk more in depth in a second. But now we have battery size differences. So not only are we talking suspension, now there's some for the guys who need long range, and then obviously we have the stuff now. Well, have soon maybe, but we have the stuff for the guys who need high speed. There's some guys here in the comments section saying I would never go 60 miles an hour on a wheel. Fair enough. I don't know too many people that would, even in New York or California. So those SoCal guys can ride pretty fast too. But yeah, so now there's something for everyone. The question is, what will be the determining factor of who wins that battle, so to speak, as far as market share in the suspension realm? Like I've been on almost every wheel on the market, especially every suspension wheel. I'm so curious to just sit back and watch and see who wins this. Is it the Gotway? Let's say that the Master is everything that I'm hoping it to be. Do even if it is, do they win the market share, or does King Song, like what do you guys think is going to make them rise to the top?
Well, that's gonna be a tough one. And honestly, for me, it's show and tell still, and it always is for me.
Hmm.
Excuse me, I try not to jump on board too early. The S20 got me only because of their theatrical interest into what we're doing. Like that did it for me, and the specs and everything. I was like, oh man, it pulled me in, so it intrigued me enough that I'm like, all right, I'll pull the trigger. Normally, I'm not like that because I want to ride it first. I want to check it out first. I want other people to ride it first, and then I want to make a decision. They got me, and it being coming soon, um, because I'm holding a email here from um, eWheels, and it says that they shipped out the first batch of S20s, and they're being flown out now, um, and they're going to a certain someone in New York, before they make their rounds around the country. So, uh, in case you guys weren't sure about that confirmation, it is going to New York, um, to these guys here before anybody else gets it. So they should have it really soon. Um, I think it's starting with you, Sean. So you should have it momentarily. So yeah,
I think
this is like
V is also. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, this is just the email I got just a few minutes before the show started from Jason. So this is the latest update. And you were saying V, she's probably getting it from Free Motion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she'll probably have it as well.
And let's not forget, as my favorite guy with four names here, he's mentioning awesome comments here. InMotion V13 is coming out at some point. Are they calling it the Raptor? Is that the final?
The
That's
Raptor,
hilarious.
the Raptor. I like
So
it.
the Raptor,
That's
I don't
what I
know.
heard.
Let me pull this back up. I don't know about that 150 volt. InMotion, I think InMotion is locked into 100 volt
Well, we'll see.
to give something away.
Right.
So
So
Jason also said the release tempo is giving him issues. Like I said, he says that the tempo is relentless. The models keep dropping one after the other in the past month. Um, it's like no week goes by without a new release. He said it's looking like, and I asked him to clarify this. He said it's
Uh-oh.
looking like the master might be the winner, the potential winner.
There we go.
And I asked why would he say that, and he replied to me and he said because he's just looking at all of the stats and the price compared to others.
Yeah,
He's
what's the
saying
price on that?
he didn't tell me, but it's obviously it's not $4,000 like the hero was supposed to be.
Okay, cool. So we're
So
gonna stay below the 4. That's good.
yes, we're gonna
well,
stay in range. So he was
so
saying because go ahead,
so I want to jump in here because this is a
go
really
ahead,
good one.
go
Um,
ahead.
he hasn't said any price, but Alien Ride had he has said that he is probably going to charge somewhere around $2,900.
For
Right.
So
for the
that
master?
is see right there, right there. You hear that?
Bing,
That
bing,
is
bing, bing,
the
bing, bing,
Bro,
bing,
symbol
that's
of
bing.
a cell being made right there.
that is that is the price of my Sherman.
Where do I click buy?
Exactly.
No,
It is only $100 more than the Sherman when it was introduced, and it's 134 volt. It's faster. It's only short 400 watt hour, but that's not a big deal. You know, I feel like I can hear the people lining around the block for this wheel as we speak.
Yeah, I mean that is spectacular. However, it could be the best fireball money could buy at $2,800.
listen, I was trying to steer away from it, but we have to go there. We have to, right? Because they're looking for
Epic
us to
fireworks from that
yeah.
wheel, bouncing fire.
So right, so not only do they burst into flames, but they bounce while they do. No, um,
That's funny.
I know that there's an issue because he was also talking about the battery packs. He said there's concern about battery packs, especially using the same LG cells.
Hmm.
Completely new 32S pack configuration. We're getting one of those sent over. So he's sending it to his battery tech, so they're working on that. Um, let's see. I don't want to go over everything he said because I think some of it is just saying it to me. Um, but he concerns over the battery configuration, the MOSFET setup, trying to see what is real and what's the real deal. And as a distributor, he's gonna go through it and try and see what's what so that he can do his best to help people along their way to making the right decision.
It's a little
And
unfair to him, right? Or any dealer because they all have to pick. He can't just like carry everything now at this point.
right,
In the old days, he kind of could have, but now,
yep,
I mean, especially with recent unfortunate events, but even pretend that didn't happen, he's already kind of been choosing, right? If you looked at his website, Jason's been choosing. Yuko's been choosing, Alien Rise
Yep.
has been choosing. We're not going to count EVEs; they're not real yet because they snubbed Sean on an award. So
Why? But I want to say like it's not even like so here's the issue, right? So the Hero is now an 1800 watt-hour 100-volt wheel that is currently, and it has the same suspension setup as the new Master, and it's selling for like $4,000. Like if you have a bunch of Hero in stock, if you're BFF with Gotway and they sold you like 10 unit of like Hero, how are you going to be selling that now? Who's going to pay for it when this new
yeah,
hotness is only $3,000?
that's what
Like
Jason always
it,
says. They leave him holding the bag. That's what they always do.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the problem with the pricing and the gouging, because that's exactly what that is. There's absolutely no reason that you can tell me that it should cost that much, $4,000, when everything else around it is lower. You just can't tell me that it
Yeah,
makes sense that it has to be that much. So when you come out with other wheels that are lower and can give you the same or more, then you just lost out, buddy. Uh, I'm a I'm gonna say it. The Hero was dead on arrival simply because of everything else around it and what they
yep,
tried to do. And I know that they were trying to get some of their money back, whatever, whatever. But you can't do that to us. You can't do that to the distributors. You have to, if things aren't working out for you and it's not advantageous to you right now, well, you're not always gonna win, buddy. It's business. So you may have to take a loss to make sure that your customers get what they need so they continue being your customers.
yeah.
And then at some point you can get more money out of them. But if you gouge them and punch them in the eye, nobody wants to come back.
Well, I mean, Archie was commenting down here, and he was saying that, well, first off, no one has enough Hero in stocks, and they didn't sell well. So what you're saying is correct. Um, you see, Lucifer says from hero to zero, but I think it's like we said. It's the bigger point is, and then Sean and I have discussed this a lot privately. Is they don't see themselves in the way that a proper Western company would see themselves, right? They think they're like the local bakery on your block who can just make an oatmeal cookie today and a chocolate chip tomorrow, and it doesn't really matter if it sells well. They're just, playing around, trying stuff. But you're selling to a global market. You can't, I have a business. I understand business to some little extent, but like anybody out there who knows nothing about business can see that this is kind of crazy, that they're just like every month now there's a
Mm-hmm.
new thing. And so, like we said, the dealers have to pick and you guys out there have to pick. And imagine if you, just, let's say you just got a Hero. Maybe you were really into it. I agree with Archie. Let's let it die. Let's move on. But let's pretend that's the wheel that you got. Now you literally are holding the bag. You're like, well, wait a minute. There's a cheaper, like 10 times potentially better version of this thing that they put out a month later. Like what?
That's just dirty.
But
And
like,
it's
I have to. I want to go back to the whole like market share like question you
Oh,
had
that's
from
right. Yeah.
before, right? And so here's the breakdown, right? I think for my impression, I don't have numbers, but based on like I think analysis of the eco drift data, emotion still outsells everybody combined. So they're the big
yep.
dog in town, and there are
Hur,
people,
hur.
the people going to buy emotion. They're going to continue to buy emotion because they didn't care about top speed. They're just like, we want a high quality wheel from a brand that's running like a real company. So
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna wait for the V13 and they're gonna buy the V12, and they're fine. So they're not switching. For Kingston, it's the same. Like the people who buy Kingston, they're like, we don't care about top speed. We want high quality. We want reliability. We
Yeah.
want the best suspension. They're gonna buy
Mm-hmm.
the S20. They're not gonna change their pre-order. Now, the people who used to buy Gotway, who have a year ago, 2 years ago, went over to like Veteran because they're like, oh, Gotway is just not getting any faster. We're not getting no, performance improvement, and Veteran's the new hotness. So we're gonna go there because they're the fastest. They're the
Hmm.
best wheel right now. Now those guy who is sitting on a Sherman right now, they're like, 134-volt and faster speed. Those are the guys that are going to seriously thinking about coming back to Gotway. So basically, you have all the people that went over to like veteran, and now they're all coming back. And like the thing that like I'm mostly excited about this is like what is going on at veteran right now. Like, can you imagine like those engineers sitting around this morning looking at each other and be like, what is going on? What would happen to us, right? If they haven't been developing a 134-volt wheel, they better start right now. They better figure that there better be a 134-volt Abrams like on the drawing board tomorrow, because otherwise, like, why would you go back to that at this point?
I think the naming conventions sometimes are a little fortuitous, or I guess whatever the negative version of that word is. But in this case, the master, as Francisco has pointed out in this lovely super chat, might be the master of the universe. So I think it's like, well, anyways, to go back really quick to what you were doing on your stream, trying to dissect my my analysis of it all, is basically we
Go
saw
for it.
in real time that Gotway/Begode was working out the kinks of their new suspension wheel that they were trying to rip off the S20. So like the Hero was like the rip off, or the EX was them like rushing it. I think Archie even said privately in one of the chats to us that
Yeah.
they didn't love the whole mechanism of the EX, but they were like, well, let's just go with it, right? Because everyone else is going to market, so whatever. So
Right.
we got that as first. Then we got the Hero from them, I think, right? That was the next iteration technically, and that so from then on, it's them working it out live while selling you these shitty products. And then finally they hit the master and they were like, we know it's so good, we're naming it the master. And I do love, in true Gotway style, they didn't make an announcement like these fancy other companies. They just, on Facebook, were like, hey, you see this? That's how they always release a wheel. It's so sketchy, but it's kind of funny and endearing at this point.
Well,
It,
funny,
you know,
yes. Endearing, I don't know. I
See,
don't
I'm
know.
convinced that they just have no idea. Like, everyone think like, okay, they have some kind of plan. They're trying to like get people to buy their wheels and have them upgrade incrementally over the years. I disagree. I think they just have no idea. They have no idea what people want. They're just trying to have a hit. They saw someone else. Like at first they saw like veteran making the Sherman, so they're like, oh, that's a big hit. Let's make something that looked just like it. So they made the X-Men, and nobody was interested. They're like, what do we do now? And then they saw the S20. They're like, okay, let's make a wheel with suspension. And then they, basically used the same design for Hero, and nobody bought it. And then they try to make it look more like the S20, so they released the EX2, and still nobody bought it. So they're like, what do we do? And then they're like, wait, there's that 134-volt like thing that you had in the back. Can you drag that out and put it in the wheel and see what happens? Like, and then like, and you have a new wheel. And then so like you're like, oh, there's no, because they have no idea. Like, to then all these wheels are all the same. They're just swapping out parts, and then they post. They're like, "Oh, look what I got," and then they're like, "Okay, do people care?" you know. And if people start freaking out, they're like, "Oh, go with that one. That's what they want." You know.
you, you
Yep.
know what it reminds me of? When I was a kid, and you have like a BMX bike, and you're like, oh, you try new shit, like, and like, oh, you try it. Oh, look at this. Like, what was it? To make that stupid noise, you put a
Like
playing
playing
card
card.
and clip it to your thing, and it makes the noise. And then somebody wanted colored spokes, so we had those little things that you put on every other spoke, and
Right.
all those. Like, these are stupid things that you were coming up with. Oh, and I feel like that's what they're doing. Like, they're like, hey, What about that other thing over there? Let's try it out. Like you said, then you have like a 134-volt thing that seemed to work. Bring it out. Let's see if we can make that work. Like,
Yep.
I'd like to believe um, what you were saying, Mickey, that they were coming along,
No, I don't
but
think it was like that they were like, you know, geniuses about it. I think they were just like they made a thing and they were like, "We'll put it out there, see what they think." Because like I said, they don't do big unveils. They just kind of drop a Facebook video and they put it out there and they showed off some riding stuff in the countryside in China, and they kind of gauged some pre-orders and they were like, try something else. Mr. Lin is over there just like try something else. And like it's sort of a mixture of that, but I think in real time we were seeing them iterate in their sloppy fashion, but they were like, "Well, we're gonna sell it, might as well, while we do this."
the way that they drop things, though, it's just you don't even know whether to believe it's real. Like you said, hey, you see what we got? Hey, you put it down because you're like, is that real? Like the EX2 and the EX2S and whatever the
It
hell.
looks like an
I
erector
thought
set,
that
didn't
was
it?
fake as shit. I was like, that ain't real.
Well, when it first came out, that was what a lot of people, nerds, hyper nerds who saw it first were like, "This is not real. This has got to be fake." I think for a second, like people that I knew were like, "Oh, this is another one of those things where a guy made a wheel, like the Rikio wheel." And
Yeah,
then they were like, "No, this is Begode." We're like, "What?" Like it looks like an erector set.
it
Right,
does.
because it
It
doesn't have
does.
a shell. Like it's just like you're like, where's the rest of the wheel? Like it's like I get this is what the inside look like, but where's the shell? Like is there's an outside part that usually go over the whole wheel. Like what happened to that?
I like to think that they watched my live stream with Jack, and he mentioned in that stream like how they realized if they just cut out the shell, they can save a lot of money and input more stuff into it, features for the actual ride performance. And then Begode was like, "See, I told you." And they're like, "Kill it all." But
No,
look, I do
it's
like
when
that the saddle looks all built into all these wheels, right?
yeah, yeah, I
Saddle, like
like
it kind
that.
of resembles that, right?
Yeah, I like that because, again, I'll refer to my age. I like to ride seated. I mean, when you're riding a long distance, I like to be able to take a break. So no matter what, I'm going to engineer some kind of seat if you don't put one on it, and I would prefer it be a part of it or come with it, one of
Yeah.
the two. So
What the top EUC Vibes is asking? What's the top speed in the S20? I believe it's 70 kilometers. So same as the V12, it's gonna be 43-ish miles per hour. So that's
yes.
another thing that comes with safety. We're assuming, right? There's a safety margin there from Kingsong, but it's
Hmm.
not going to hit these top speeds. My thing is, I've already got a mid-range wheel, like the V12 or the Nikola. If you have that, that satisfies that like 40-mile-an-hour mid-range. If I'm going to invest in a bigger wheel that likely might replace my Sherman, because I'm kind of like a three-wheel guy, it needs to have some power, some punch, some battery for range, so I don't have to think about it for like
Hmm.
3 days.
Right. I love that
This
feeling
is
when
like
you go ahead.
I, no, I was just gonna say, like, I'm just like, like none of this. I feel like, especially when it comes to like Gotway, it's just like none of this matter. It's just like, listen, 134 volt. It's just like I don't know if you like remember, but back in the day when everybody's on 84 and then we moved to like 100 volt, like at first people were like, oh, I don't know about this 100 volt, but like very quickly people were just like, 84 volts. What? Why would you be still be riding that slow ass thing, man? Just get the new hotness. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you do that? It's just like
Yeah.
and then like and Gotway it's just going to go through their whole lineup. There's going to be like, 134 volt like, EXN, there's going to be 134 volt like RS. They're just going to make 134 volt of every single thing and everybody's going to upgrade. That's what they always do.
They milk it.
There's going to be exactly. You now have to buy a new Nikola because there's a 134 volt Nikola. Like, why wouldn't you buy? Of course, you're gonna upgrade. You're like, this is come on, this is the new. You may not need to go like 70 miles an hour, but like you're like, oh, this give me more headroom. They can give me more power. Why wouldn't I
Yeah.
want it? I just upgrade for the new thing.
Do you remember the
Yeah. It's
blackboards? I think even today in the New York chat, Archie was saying the blackboards are done essentially. Do you know how many people bought like new wheels because there was that blackboard thing, and now
Yep.
the Gotway's
Oh
like,
my
yeah,
god.
that didn't really work.
Yeah, and you're like,
But like
what?
I get the feeling that like like Gotway is desperate. Like I don't doubt it because the number of new wheels that they're releasing, they wouldn't do this if they weren't desperate. Like
Right.
I think that people aren't buying. People are just not buying because like if you have like I've been riding my Monster V3 for like years and years and years now. Like to me, I'm just like I don't see like if I upgrade to the new wheel, yeah, I get like 5, 6, 7, 8 miles an hour extra, but that's it. Like then there's quality issue. Then all this other concern comes into place because you're like, it's not a huge performance bump, and the new wheel is like, still filled with problems. So why would I upgrade? Like
Right.
the only reason that a Gotway guy would upgrade is just higher voltage, more performance. That's it. That
Hmm.
is just it. Like if you get that, you pony up the cash and you buy it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, as
Right.
soon as I was kind of sold very fast on the Master, right? And it was
You
because of
were.
that. It was because I saw the voltage. I was like, what? I like choked to my drink. I was like, what? Because remember, if you guys don't know, the most arrogant chat room in the world is the NYC Telegram chat room. Okay, and in there, everyone thinks they know what's left, right, and center. It doesn't matter who they are. They might know nothing, and they're like, I know everything. All right, and so there's been floats of like what voltage has come, what's going to be next, right? It was like I think famously like Ben was always saying like 126 is next, and then people are like, well, actually 116 is going to have to come first. No, it'll be 117. No, it'll be this, and this is like how the nerd arguments go until they're like, F you, meme, dick pic. It's like this is like how it goes. So, well, we were all proven wrong because now we have 134. I don't think I've ever saw that number floated around in the nerd
No,
chat rooms.
no. That was the first time I'd heard it. 134. What was the battery again?
I think it was
2400.
2400.
2400. So bigger battery, more wattage. So, I mean, not that I'm the engineer, but obviously that
Well, there's
translates to more speed.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's this assumed, because I'm not an electrical engineer, but there's just like this assumed thing in the community that with that higher voltage, it doesn't require as much battery overhead potentially. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe Archie can speak to that. He's here in the chat, but I think there's
Yeah,
that
that's
assumption.
that's that's the running assumption. So, and if that's the case, great. And it's funny because all all things being considered, all we really care about it. I mean, when you talk about the calculation, is does it give me more speed, and is it safe?
Mm,
Because I mean, that's my concern. Yes, you may give me more speed, but if I'm the fastest person on a fireball going down the street, I'm not in. So there's still a huge concern there, and that's why I like the fact that Jason's mentioning, he's going to be investigating to make sure because he has to stand behind the products and help the customers out when issues arise. And
yeah,
we're still up in the air. The
I don't know.
master's a great idea, but can they bring that great idea to market safely? We'll
Yeah, I
see.
mean, there's a couple of questions that come up too, which is like number one, is the battery going to drain faster? That's I think some guys asking that in the chat room. Like, does I think 100
Yes.
volt drains a little bit faster than 84 volts, so 134 potentially. Yeah, like the range might be abysmal, all things considered, if you compared another 2400 watt hour device. Also, question I have is like, have they tried to implement anything different about their batteries to make it safer? Like, I know they showed us that weird video where they drilled into a battery pack. Are those cells in this? Has anyone heard? I don't know.
No, it's
Um,
not. It's not the LFP cells. It's not the
no, because
it's not the quote unquote safer cell. No.
no, because I know
Exciting.
E Wheels has those cells, and he was talking about shipping the wheel over to his battery tech to see exactly what they're offering and what they, like I'm guessing he's thinking, what can we do about it to help people get those cells? I think
Yeah.
that's what he's thinking. um, and I'm like I said, I'm glad he's doing that. You know, right off the bat, it's the first thing he's thinking about. Um, but he also mentioned, he said, for our part, there's a degree of frustration about another round of announcement news when the V12, the S20, the Commander, the Hero, when they haven't even arrived in volume, or in the case of the V12, when there's still issues that need to be taken care of. So it's a lot for the distributor to go through. So um, we're not the only ones that are frustrated and confused and like, huh?
Yeah, I hope Archie was in the chat saying that they're talking about a smart BMS. Can we just stop talking about it? Can you just
Yeah,
put in?
be
And
about it.
I always like to clarify, they all have some degree of a smart BMS already. We need a smarter and accessible BMS. This is what I have been pushing for. I would like to see in every wheel moving forward. Doesn't matter if it's a 14-inch or a 22-inch wheel or a fast or a slow wheel. I'd like to be able to see my cell health. I'd like to be able to monitor it. I'd like to be a little bit in charge of it.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem when, because that does come up every time we talk about it on stream, and people say smart BMS, and I believe when Archie's saying it, he's saying it in terms of the BMS does a better job. I don't think that he's talking about, excuse me, us being able to make adjustments. And I, if I remember correctly, I was spoken to him about that, and he said that would be really difficult to do, to allow us to make adjustments, to
I
allow
don't
us to
want to make an
see it.
adjustment though.
Right, you just want to see it, right?
Yeah, because I made that whole video about if
Yeah.
they use the BMS, which by the way, Mike from Is There Any Food did this to his Nikola. He had a battery guy put a better one in, and he is living with the Nikola that I'd like to have, where he can open the app and he can look at the Zhaojiang app or the Ent app, and he can see his cell groupings and see just how balanced they are, and it'll give him a notification if something is wrong. It'll get an email or a text message saying, "Hey, this cell group has a serious error going on. Can you imagine?" And then you go, "Oh crap!" You open up
Right.
that wheel right away. You unplug that battery and you call your dealer and you go, "It just told me this, so I unplugged it." And then maybe Jason or whoever goes, "Cool, let's plug it back in, try something, take a look." And then you go, "Oh yeah, you know what? It is screwed. Good thing you got that warranty. Got 2 years from Alien Rides. We'll send you a new pack." You know, like that is a much better scenario than Jason, my house burned down.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. Like, here's my theory, and it's just a theory, but my impression is that like Godway is run like a little fiefdom. There's a king on top, and everyone underneath it is afraid. Because if the ones that wasn't afraid and was pissed off already left and went and formed like veteran, and that's why they left. So this is why I feel like, every time when we talk to some of these people underneath like the cells, and whenever like one of the dealer go and talk to them and just say, what's coming next? Like, okay, you're gonna sell me the EX2. Is there gonna be an upgrade coming like soon after this? And they're like, no, this is it. Just buy the EX2. You're safe. Where it's no upgrade. And then next week there's a new wheel show because it's just Mr. Ling on top. He's just like, and just whatever he wants, he's just like, okay, this doesn't seem to be doing so well. Let's try something else. But conversely, the same thing also is true for whenever there are problems, right? So imagine all the people underneath Miss Sterling try to put forth like, you have your boss, right? If your product is burning down houses, are you going to take this and run to your boss and say, hey, boss, we made these wheels, it's burning down houses. What do we? No, you try to keep a lid on it for as long as you can in fear of your job. So I feel like all this complaint, like my own suspicion is that Mr. Ling may not even know about it. He may just be like, "Oh, this is just people talking, crap like on the internet. It's not true." Like his people
Yeah.
underneath him may just be like, "Oh, it's fine. Our wheel is doing fine. It just, it's not doing well because all this lies being spread, by these, dirty Americans." So it could very be it could very well be that, and so this is why I'm like, honestly, when it comes to like build qualities and risk and all of this, like I'm like, it's not going to be any different. Like, it's the same. It's Gotway, man. Wake up. It's Gotway. You're not going to get a wheel that's waterproof. It's Gotway. You got to do this yourself. You know, it's just like it has always been like this. It will never gonna be changing. Like, you're gonna have to take a Gotway wheel. You gotta take it apart. You gotta waterproof it. You gotta fix it yourself. But you know what? For all of your trouble, you get the fastest wheel on the block. Come on, man. 134-volt. That's the only thing that matters.
I think that was Sean's "I have a dream" speech right there, but kind of negative,
Right.
but also very derogatory. That was the rant of the season right there.
but but you say the speed, but you got to remember it's still only 2,200 watts,
The 24.
right? Or 2,400 watts.
Let's not get it
So
twisted, Cobra.
Okay, 2,400. Okay, let's correct that. 2,400, but it's 2,400 as opposed to 3,600, as opposed to could be more. So my
but
point is,
we said that though it might mean more than we don't know what this
Right.
means.
right, because of the ratio and how the math works out. It might still mean that it's faster. Who knows? So
Or the
let's see.
range might not suffer as much. Who knows? It might be awful. It might be great. We don't know yet.
It might be EX range. Who
Listen,
knows?
we're gonna wait till Marty gets one of these wheels and takes it up 10 mountains over 7 days and reports back with a 45-minute video to tell us the whole thing, and then we'll know just how good the range is at 13 miles an hour.
That's the thing, man. I don't, like, so with higher voltage, you get greater discharge. So it's not like you're magically able to somehow squeeze more power into, 1, watt hour. It's
Yeah.
the same amount, but you're also now you're pumping a lot more energy into the motor to get you at higher speed. And when you go above 50, like, that power requirement increase exponentially. So if you want to do 60, like, this wheel is going to, well, not 60, but on the tour you can max out at 55, but you're going to be eating through your pack like there's no tomorrow. Like, my guess is that you're going to get like horrible range on this wheel. It's going to be
Yeah.
less than like a 1,600 watt hour wheel.
I think
like
it should have
100
been
volt.
5,000 watt hours. But I think weight is always, I'm serious, like but weight's always a consideration. So they're probably just trying to weigh that out. But like, there's a guy here in New York who builds batteries, and he builds batteries for the bike guys. And it's like a 5,100 watt hour battery, and it's 200 volts. So like, he's the fastest Suron in the world probably. But I don't imagine his range is that great. But he had to go that large with his battery to probably make up for the fact that he's draining so rapidly.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
but
and-
there's. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that it's a trade-off. No matter how we look at it, it's a balancing act. Until we push the machine, we can't tell. But I guess if it were a different company putting it out like that, then I'm not saying that the other companies are all much better or whatever. I'm just saying, record-wise, right now, the way things are going, I'm more concerned about the engineering and the QC at Begode still, and
They are never
probably
concerned.
because,
You're always concerned. They're never
Yeah.
concerned.
you're
Right, exactly.
you're right. I don't think, and that's how I feel. I'm like, it's just sad because I'm like, does this translate to you? Are you getting what we're saying? And I guess the only time they do is when we do what we're doing now, not buying the wheels.
Well, I have sitting up here on the stream Archie's comment for a little while now. He says, in retrospect, he listens. I think he's talking about Mr. Ling. He's watching what the community does, and we talked about 126 volt back in 2018, 2019, but it was not done due to safety. He watched that the Hero plus the EX2 was not accepted. Well, Archie, if you have an ear to the governor, to the king, to the dictator, to the little emperor over at Godway Begode, please push forth the idea that, of course, we want bigger, faster, stronger, better, but safety should not be neglected as much as it has been neglected for them. Case in point, the Black Cobra here was a victim
Mm-hmm.
of their garbage quality, is in service of this, insane top speed thing, which look, we all love, like I like it a lot, but
Yeah.
it's time to sort of find a better balance. Look, you just wowed us. You're still king of the 134-volt club. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're the only one in it so far. So please just impress upon them the safety as much as you can. If any of you out there have the rear, because clearly the three of us don't.
so
Because
so here's the
we're saying
here's
the
the thing.
same
Like
thing over and over and over. So
Yeah,
clearly,
they
they're not
listen.
listening.
the thing I do have to say that I find interesting is that this says as much about this community as as anything else, because like if we do if this is our primary concern, right? If safety and reliability and build quality is our primary concern, not a lot of people should be interested in the master, because it's not going to be built any better. I could tell you that right now. It's going to be built just like any other Gotway. The only difference being is that it's going to be, faster. It's going to be 134-volt. And unfortunately, like, my suspicion is that, again, if that's how you feel, you wouldn't be riding Gotway in the first place. You'd be riding an Emotion, you'd be riding a King Sound, because you're like, these wheels are obviously better built, more reliable, with better support,
Hmm.
Like, you are in the Gotway bucket because you're just like, this thing could be made out of paper mache and fall apart in your, in your water. But when it's all working together, when I have it duct tape just right, it'll get me to, 55 miles an hour, and I'll be able to go back in time, So it's
88 miles an hour.
88 gig.
right, exactly. This is
That's
like
funny.
always, like, you like, I see, like, every time, like, like, I remember going to Seattle, and I met this guy, and he's like in a full camo suit, and he has, like, a Gotway wheel, and he just, like, everyone else is, riding politely and everything. This guy is like blasting ahead like a rocket, and I'm just thinking about this, and I'm just like, he is the target market right there. He's not
Mm-hmm.
gonna care about having to, like, work, like,
Yeah.
all the hardcore dudes. They're just like, I'll deal with it. I'll buy a fire extinguisher if I had to,
Cobra will get
you know.
another shoulder. It's okay. He'll just put a steel one in. He'll be all right.
Right,
I
exactly.
Um,
wanted them to. I told them. I said, you got the technology. You can rebuild me.
yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
make me Thanos.
Yeah. I asked them. I said, when do the bionics kick in?
They
I'm still
said, no,
waiting.
you got to do it alone, huh?
They
Um,
said you can't afford the bionics, buddy.
Melody has sent us a super chat. She says, hopefully, this is enough boba drink for each of us. So thank you, Melody.
Boba, boba, boba.
That's the West Coast. We say bubble tea over here.
Oh yes, bubble tea. He's right. He's right. Boba
Oh,
bubble,
no.
boba
Archie's
bubble.
throwing shade at you. He says, Black Cobra doesn't know how to ride. He keeps falling.
Yeah, he was there at my first fall when I scraped my knees up, and
Splice Guard is out of the hospital now, everyone. I didn't know he was in there, but he says he's out and he's free and he's better now. So welcome,
yes, I'm
welcome
glad.
back,
I'm glad he's
Splice.
all set. My man, Splice guard.
Someone says, "Is there such thing as breaking the bones barrier?"
I I mean,
uh,
I do have to say that, like, as extreme as it seems to us, right? Like, 60 miles an hour, like, on a, like a vehicle that require balancing, either a bike or, like, it's not
Mm,
as crazy as we think. Like, riding a motorcycle, 60 is just like, you're just like, but that's just me going to work. Like, commuter speed on a highway is 60. There's nothing, like, absolutely amazing or dangerous about it. The only reason why we think it is because, honestly, all the wheels right now are all underpowered for our use. Like, you never think on a motorcycle, like, oh, I gotta be careful not squeezing the throttle too hard, because I might it might explode, right?
it might
Like,
cut out or blow up.
right, Exactly. Like the reason why we're obsessing about it is because it's not anywhere close to like having enough room, like headroom for like normal usage for our concern. Like, for what we wanted to do. Like ideally, if we get to a point when a wheel does like 80, 90, then you never think about it. You're just like, okay, this is I can lean into it. I don't have to worry about it blowing up in my face. Like it's always good to have more headroom, even if you're just doing 30 miles an hour, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like this is what we have to do.
I mean, this is, I know it's the most hated wheel out there right now. But like the V12, for all of its batch 2 faults, which will be solved, in general, it has that high overhead you're talking about, Sean. The lift speed is higher than the RS.
Mhm.
And so, for example, I've pushed that wheel. I'm not saying InMotion's the greatest. I'm a veteran fanboy to some extent. But that wheel I've pushed past the tilt back because I knew I could. I don't advise anyone else
How
do it.
fast?
I hit 45. When I say 45, I mean app 45, not real life radar 45. Just so we're clear. Shut up, Ben. Um, so I pushed past it's 70 some odd whatever it is kilometers an hour, but I knew I could, and I was at like top battery because of the overhead. Now you shouldn't do that, but I just wanted to give a little test. I was feeling a little crazy.
No, you.
Um, Francisco's got another super chat for us. He says, "Second round on me." Oh, 2 rounds of boba, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So somebody said, but cyborg, and now he's saying bionic. So I'm gonna have to change my logo, make part of my Cobra bionic.
I don't know. Someone else here is saying no one here is old enough to remember the $6 million man.
Look, when you say bionic, that's what we're referring to. For those of you that are too young to know. Steve Austin.
EV Roller is saying hello to everybody here. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello. What up? What up? What up? What up?
Oh, someone asked. I'll let Cobra do this. Not being rude, but who is this Archie guy? He's a clown. Continue. Go
Panda,
ahead.
panda, 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 panda. Panda is to me, he's a technical genius. He's the mad scientist. He comes up with some creative ideas to power our electric unicycles. If you haven't ridden with him, then you haven't seen his backpack battery or his seat mod where he's got extra battery packs built into his seat on his monster. Um, he's really good with engineering and building things. He's not good with aesthetics though. Archie, you build some of the ugliest shit I have ever seen, and he does not give a fuck. He builds this. He says doesn't matter, and I'm like, it matters. I said I'm
Hmm.
not riding that.
That's
So
my dilemma. I have to have both.
yeah. Well,
It gets
the thing
costly.
is,
Gets costly.
right? You want it to do a lot, but you want it to look good too. I don't know. I just he's like just do this. I'm like no, 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 no.
Yeah.
But he's a great guy. He's out of Boston. If you don't know the panda, uh, he loves to help out. He'll help anybody. He rode from Boston to here in Springfield, Mass, on his wheel to give me my my Bigot jacket that I was supposed to get with my monster that I bought from him. And I
Oh,
said
the
that
like paper thin jackets that they
yeah,
give out.
paper thin, lime green. Yeah, I didn't get mine because he didn't have the right size. So he rode all the way from Boston on his wheel and brought it to me. Hell of a guy. I love you, Archie. That's my man.
All right, that's enough Archie talk on my stream. Um, Somebody was asking what EUC has the best quality custom accessories available for it, pads, pedal seats. I'm going to transition that to out of the new suspension wheels, which do you think is going to have the best quality accessories, whether it's stock or that people create in the community for it? Which do you think is going to come out on top with the best accessories? based on, I guess, design.
Hmm. That's a
Well, I
tough
mean, they
one.
made the S20 really easy to adapt to. I mean, the thing is
Hmm.
just like it's flat on the side, right? So you can just about stick anything to it.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think. Well, I
Like
think.
versus the
Go ahead. Yep.
I was gonna say versus the Master, where like the first thing when I saw is just that red triangle wedge of a plastic thing. I'm like, how do I get rid of that thing so I can put a
Yeah.
pad on it?
Well, if they're listening, if they truly listen, maybe they will make that removable. Because it's
Yeah,
just a shell thing they found a way to attach to the battery compartment, right? That's what
yeah.
it looks like.
It is what it looks like.
I
What do you
I
think?
think the S20 might win that race for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think they had that in mind when they designed it. I think they thought about making it modular. I don't think they were trying to be totally proprietary, but I mean proprietary. But I could be wrong. I'm just going by what it looks like, how pieces and parts move, you know, that kind of stuff, and it's difficult to think that another wheel is gonna do as much. Plus, no wheel has had the buildup and the excitement as much as the S20 has had. It has had and then even up to their latest video, I was gonna pull that up. Their latest video that they just put out, I was like, these guys know how to do it. And if I were running an EUC company, I'd be doing what they're doing.
I
Commercials where it zooms in and zooms out and has the dope music. You haven't seen the new one?
No, I saw Jack's unboxing. I didn't see the.
No, they came out with another video, and I was like, okay,
Oh, do you
okay.
know where you saw it at? Like what platform?
It's probably on the King Song site.
All right.
If you go to
I'll
YouTube
try to
on
bring
the
it up in a second.
yeah, I'll try and pull it up here too. Uh,
Just so you know, Law says I'm here, guys.
what's up?
I
It's the
I
morning egg making law. If you saw his video
I just
making
want to
eggs on
say like
EUC,
what one of the
go
things that excite me the most about like the oh son, I'm drawing a blank. The new Galway wheel. What was it? There's
the
been too
master.
The
many names.
master.
The Master is the fact that it will now force all of these Dan holdout, suspension holdout, like Laws, who's convinced that they don't need suspension. Now they all have to ride this thing. They will be forced to ride a suspension wheel because if they want 134 volts, their all only choice. So Declan and Law, all you people are now riding suspension.
That's right. There was
What
definitely
we
someone who
looking
did another
for?
super chat, but I don't think I've hit it yet. I apologize if I missed it. It was likely Francisco, so thank you if that was you. Um, oh no, it was EUC Vibes. A whole $1.99. That's awesome, bro. Thank you so
The
much.
vibes.
He says you know the vibes.
You know the vibes.
I think people are hating on Archie. That's okay. I'll let that slide in the chat. We'll let that go.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys can hate in private.
So Law agrees. He thinks the S20 is going to shine the most in terms of versatility in the pad setup because Law. If you guys don't know Law Laxina, that's who's talking. He's going to have his own pads, his own custom pads. So
Yeah.
that'll be. Well, can't wait to see what you come up with for that.
You know he's gonna come up with something.
Giphy says, if I bring it up here, Sean Lynn's videos is the reason I got the 16X as my first wheel. Not like anyone asked, though.
Yeah.
And you're still live and walking around, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Hey, I was on board too, man. I was all on board.
So
16X was it.
the Master, do we know, is it a 20-inch? Did we confirm?
Uh,
Or
I
It's
think
a
it's
20-inch.
24. Was it 22 or
No, it's
24?
not
I thought
24. It's not 24. It's 20
no
20 inch. It's
20.
20 inch.
Okay.
Yeah, I seen the spec. Yeah. It's
Okay.
basically like this is why like I like it's so easy. Like they're just like they probably have a prototype somewhere of like the 134 volt like RS. They just have to like literally like put the board inside that thing and it's ready to go.
Okay. Mickey, I just sent you the link to that video.
yeah, I got it right here.
Okay.
Although, We'll see if their music
if it
is
plays.
should play. Let me try to see if I can pull it up over here. Let me pull this comment down.
Yeah.
All right, let's click the right thing. So I'm on the one called both.
Ooh, 9.99 there.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
thank you, JP. That's my good friend back home, JP. What's up, buddy? We're gonna throw it up there. Thank you, JP. All right, so let's pull up.
Yeah, he said he's tired of being tricked into wasting 15 minutes of his life, Sean.
Yeah, stop wasting everyone's time with one wheel videos. All right, let's see if we can play this here. Oh, epic. I don't know if you guys hear the music, but it's epic.
No, we can't hear it, but that's what I was telling you. They do a good job in their commercial.
What about now? You should probably hear it now.
Oh wait, hold on. I couldn't hear it, but
Are you
yeah,
playing
they
it
can
on
hear
the
it.
screen?
Yeah,
They can hear it.
I'm gonna use it to sneak
it's
off.
it's like too epic actually.
They can hear it. Look at it. No, it's not too epic.
Yes,
Look
it
at
is.
that.
This is
Zooming
that
in, zooming out.
Transformers Relax King song. Look, if you need someone to help you pick better music, call me.
Listen, that music is dope for a wheel. Come on,
Dude, they just had like a mic drop moment in the music, and he's just screwing a tiny screw in.
The whole idea of it is to get us amped up for their delivery, and it's working. I'm amped. That's right. Put it together. That's mine right there on the bench you got there. Oh man, they look good.
They do look good. Design looks fantastic.
Yep. Look at that quality. Look at that.
Oh boy. Look, there's Sean's face.
Oh, the kickstand.
Oh no, he's auto playing. All right, get out of here, Sean.
That looks good.
Yeah, I mean, look,
But
fun videos.
that's what I mean when or if I owned an EUC company. Well, when me, you, and Sean start our EUC company, it's gonna have commercials like that. Well, even better because you make motion picture commercials.
Yeah, you're welcome to start one of those companies. You can just hire my company to make the commercials for yours.
No. It's me, you, and Sean. We got to start a company together.
All right, I'll just be a silent investor, and you guys can run it. I'll be your seed investor. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think jokes aside, I think we'd all would love to see an American company.
Oh yeah, hands down.
Tough
Mm-hmm.
thing to do. Wait, there are like those guys that are making
Yeah.
that like crazy large one,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. And they're doing it here. Oh, first of all, let me give a shout out to everybody in the chat. There was 91 people there. Oh, now it's down to 90, but
Oh,
that's
yes.
pretty dope.
If you're
That's
here and
pretty
you are one of those 90, hit that like button for us. Get
Like,
those likes up
like.
for liking the stream. If
Yeah.
you're liking the rants coming out of Sean.
The rant master. He's coming
someone
from
wants-
behind the curtain.
That's right. Pay no attention. Somebody wants to know if the video's out there of testing the max speed of the S20. No, I don't know, but I don't think anyone's going to be doing that coming out of China unless Kuji decides to get back into things, but it doesn't look like he is. I think that the max speed might be tested by myself or Sean. Likely not Cobra. Hopefully not.
Nope.
Keeping him safe. But it'll come out, and then after we do it, somebody will show us up, and they'll go faster because they weigh half as much as us and don't eat as much dim sum. So it'll happen. We'll see it soon enough. And they have tilt back, right? So the S20 is going to be like the V12, where it's the same speed. There's tilt back, and then you likely could probably push through a little bit, but not too far. I don't know. We'll see. Don't kill yourself.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, I just don't think it's like if you're buying it as 20, like the point isn't the speed. You'll get more power, and that would certainly be nice, but it's
Yeah,
not a Gateway.
that's true. It's not a Gateway. But as we said before, I think the people who are going to buy that S20 are not the crazies like us who just want something refined, nicer to look at, something that's not going to catch fire, or they hope it's not going to catch fire. They want
Dude.
that premium, pretend iPhone experience, right? They're never getting the iPhone experience because we should talk about that. Do you remember, Sean? I don't know if Cobra was around early enough to know this, but like almost every King song had pretty big issues when they came out. Do you remember? Like the 18L was having issues, the 16X had issues. Like there was little things that was happening. Remember the 18L? They were just bricking because people would do an update, and then it happened
Oh
to me.
yeah.
Boom! My control board blew up on itself, and then Jason was just like, "Here we go again, another one of these." Oh
I mean, in
wait,
general, that's what it is. Like you're always going to like. I mean, people, like I have the Z10, and everyone said that the Z10 have the best build quality of any wheel, and that is certainly true. But keep in mind, like that is on a real low curve. Like
mm.
you're not comparing like Ninebot scooter is it's well made, but comparing to anything else like a motorcycle from Honda, like it is still like plastic toy quality.
Oh
Like it's
yeah.
not a like it's nowhere near the level of engineering from like a real, you know, like company. Like unfortunately none of them are anywhere close. So it's not surprising that there's issues.
Yeah, and as you sort of said before, one of your rants so far was that they're all this, they're all the same. They're all nothing's getting better. It's all just the same. I mean, Gotway is going to be Gotway. King Song is going to be King Song. Like everyone's kind of staying in their lanes to some respect. I think moving forward, you're always going to know who's got the design, who's got the quality, and who's got the crazy performance. Oh, I just saw a funny super chat. I gotta bring it up here.
Yeah.
It's from
Yeah.
the EVEs people. Yeah,
EV Roller,
20
thank you,
bucks.
man, for Cobra's EUC startup company.
The guys at the Canadian company gave us some money. He said, "Here's 20 bucks to make up for Sean's snub." Also, it's pronounced EVs. Oh, well, I think I might just still go with EVEs to just rub it in for a little while. Thank you, though.
Yeah,
Go
that
ahead.
was that was upsetting. There should have been something in there. Sean should have been in there. Sean should have
Electric Roller, he got some love, as he should. He got some love in their little award show.
been in there.
He got some clout award or something funny. Yeah, there's a lot of people in here. Holy smokes, look at this crew. We got 95 people in here. Only
Yeah,
57
whoop,
likes.
whoop,
Smash that
whoop,
like button.
whoop.
They got half of you being obstinate. It's okay. You're allowed to. It's fine. Someone says, "Where is Sean?" What do you mean? He's sitting right here.
That was when he was gone.
Oh, okay. I'm pulling a.
You're behind.
Yeah, I'm pulling a Sean
I
Duffy.
snuck off. I tried to take advantage of the trailer break.
Someone says, also, no one has been able to get it past 52 kilometers an hour yet. It's got some firmware issues that are being ironed out. I think they mean, oh, the S20? Ooh, that's not good.
Ooh.
When I first got the V12, we couldn't get past like 60 something. And I kind of was like a jerk to them. And I was like, you have to fix this. But like prototype number 3 that I had of the V12, it was still like 65 was the top. And I was like, this is unacceptable. You told everybody 70 kilometers. And they were like, we're trying. We just want to be safe. I was just like, bro, you have the greatest margin of any EV ever made. Please stop being so safe. And finally, right before it went live, the final production model, I finally could hit 70 kilometers an hour. And I was like, I don't know why. Imagine if I wasn't like there or any of us pushing them behind the scenes, like, hey, you got to hit 70. You told everyone this is going to go 70.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
got we got to
and
hold
the
them accountable.
same thing with like the S20. If Jack wasn't there, like kind of keep pushing then about speed, like we probably would have never gotten a 127-volt wheel.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
he gets credit for that wheel.
Yep.
totally. So we've agreed the hero's dead in the water. What do you think?
Yeah.
How is the EX20 going to sell? Yeah, there's one of these little things. No, that's not it. No.
There you go.
There we go.
That's it. Um, the EX2S.
I think it's EX20S, right? Is it two? I don't know. 2S, 20S.
No, I think it's EX2S. Uh, that's what
It
that's what
was
it said in
it was
Jason's email.
EX20S. They renamed it at some
Oh,
point
did they?
because
They renamed it
yeah,
again.
They were
Okay.
hoping you'd
they
forget
renamed it again.
and accidentally
Yeah.
buy their wheel over King Songs.
Right,
So
exactly. They're
for that
like,
wheel, I guess.
Yeah, I should get taps in on this thing. All I have is the womp womp. Wait, dang it. It's the green part.
right. It's just like for Godway Rider, it's just like you just they're just like the only thing that matters is just like you're like 134 volt. It's like I remember there was a hot moment early on in the 100 volt day when people were like, oh, if you go for like an 84 volt monster, you get a lot more range because you have a 2400 watt hour battery pack instead of the 18 on the 100 volt. But like very quickly, people were just like, 100 volt. That's it. Why would you want to have like an 84
Right.
volt? Like, why? That's just you're just waiting all day to get that wheel to ride that wheel.
Yeah. Once you get, it's like I don't know. It's hard to put it, but once you raise the standard and that raised standard is accepted,
Mm.
it's a wrap. And like right now, if you say 84-volt, everyone in the room will go, "What?" So,
Right, exactly.
Will they
And
though?
like,
In our
yep,
room, yes. In our room.
yep, yeah. If okay, any real rider is gonna look at you funny.
All right, let's take a poll. So in the comments, if when you hear 84 volt, if you get that same, what are you talking about? Like that's too slow or too underpowered, put a one in the comments. If you think what's the big deal? It doesn't really. Who cares what voltage I'm riding? Put a two in the comment section. Let us know what you guys would think. So two is the I don't care crowd, and one is the yeah that's too slow. Who the heck is still riding 84 volt? But look, I got an
like
MCM5.
No,
you just
listen,
have to.
you got it. You got an MCM5, but you ain't pushing an MCM5 as your wheel. That's just one of
So-
your wheels. But
Yeah. I use it to push my kids to school.
there you go.
You just need to go on a group ride and then it's like crystal clear because you're just
Yep.
like I'm the back of the pack, I can't keep
Mm.
up, and all the guys
Yeah.
like you see all the guys speeding ahead, and right there you're just like I gotta buy that wheel. Like there's no way around it. Like it's so like I done that once and I'm just like 100 volt. And it's
Oh.
going to be the same for this also. Like it's going to be like it's like a solid like 8 miles. Like the high speed is going to be a solid 10 miles per hour faster. So it's just like there
Yeah.
is no comparison. That's like me riding like the monster trying to keep up with someone who's on like a EXN. Like it just they just leave
Mhm.
you in the dust and you're just in the back. So just like it's yeah, I think like once this wheel is out and it's everyone is convinced that it actually worked, it's everyone's just going to switch over, especially after they start releasing all the other model in 134 volt as well. It's just going to be a 134-volt world. Like that's it.
Okay, so when we say one or two, and we get sevens and fives, and come on, man.
Oh, what's going on? I'm seeing
Every
I'm seeing a mixed bag though so far.
yeah, no,
Well,
really
actually, the
dope.
ones are
What's
winning out.
yeah? What's up, Willie Dope? Good to see you here, man. He made a quick statement. It's true. The real enthusiasts are concerned about 84 to 100, and that's what I was saying. But the casual riders, they don't care, and that's true. I
Right.
mean, if you got Susie Homemaker, or I don't know, Bob the Builder or whatever, that just is riding around the construction yard, or just doing it because it's unique, then they don't care whether it's 84-volt or not.
Yeah.
But when you're on that group ride, like Sean said, because that happened to me, I'm on a group ride on the 16X. I'm like, yeah, This is not working out. So then I bought the Monster V3 from Archie, and I was like, "This what I'm talking about."
Yeah, totally.
Then I got the Sherman, and I was like, "Oh, you can't tell me nothing, homie." The Monster Pro. I'm like, "Yeah, I gotta have a wheel with that kind of power." Not that I'm gonna be pushing the 65 miles an hour or 55 miles per hour rather. Not that I'm gonna be pushing that, but I can, and you
Yeah.
can't leave me, and that's what I want. I don't want to be able to be left.
I think like for there was a time when those of us who've been doing this for a long time remember this when people would ask how fast do those things go, we would say a number and they would just give a oh okay like just run of the mill like cool thanks for answering my question in an elevator right now you know we know let's be honest everybody quotes the paper top speed even if you know for real with your weight and everything involved you can't hit that paper top speed so if someone's like hey, how fast does that thing go? I'm in an elevator with the Sherman. I go 55. And like now, there's even if I said because I've hit 50 on the Sherman, even if I said 50, still they go what? Like every time they go, I'm sorry, you you gotta say that you said 15. I'm like no 50, and without fail, everyone's like blown away. So I think we're in good company, right? Like or like the wheels are at a really good point. We're sort of like blessed with too many choices, whether that's good or bad. But I don't know. I think it's like Archie kept trying to tell everybody the future is bright. I think it's already bright. You know, when the Sherman came on board, the future there was a light that was illuminated for me, for me at least.
But that
Okay.
that's the thing. Like everyone said, like you don't need like 60 miles an hour. Like I mean, the honest truth is, in my opinion, listen, like you don't need an electric unicycle. Like this is a toy to 95% of the people that buys it. You don't need it. Like
Right.
only a very small percentage of people that actually buy it because they need it for commute or they're doing delivery, whatever. For the most part, this is a toy. And if it's a toy, you want the best toy. You want the fastest toy. You want the most capable toy. You're not going to do 60 miles an hour, but you want a toy that does 60 miles an hour because you want one that can't. Like that's like if do you need the latest like PS5? Like PS4 is just as fun, but no, you want the fastest thing. Come on, man. Like it's just this is just like it's like built into our human psychic. It's just like you need the fastest, most powerful thing ever. That's always how it is.
I think where you ride is important as well. So depending on the crew, I think like for example, I rode with people in SoCal. I rode with people in Oregon recently this summer, and in Oregon there wasn't too many like Shermans out there that I recall. There was a lot more MSPs, MS or RSs. I mean, like things that were moderate, and they did and they had a lot of high torque wheels, right? So who you ride with will affect that. So if you live in New York eventually you get tired of being left behind.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have
Mm-hmm.
a Sherman or a Monster Pro if you live here. That's kind of just all there is to be accepted. Or, even Sean, you have the V3 Monster, and I think you're always like, God, I wanted the Pro or whatever, like for that more speed, but I think you didn't get it for some, I don't know what reason, money or I don't know what. But, anyways, it's a thing here. Our crew is like, you have the slow wheel. So, but or the guys in Cali, I think they truthfully bought the Sherman not for top speed because I was kind of I think impressing them out there, but they bought it for the range. It was like at the time probably one of the biggest battery packs out there, and then the Monster soon came out.
And
Yeah.
the thing is that like I feel like there is like one of my favorite book is The Tipping Point from Malcolm Gladwell, and he was talking about how like things would build and build and build, and then it would get to a point when everyone all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden be like, oh my god, like I like the thing that like I always remember is when Tony Hawk did the 900, like everyone just like the 900, you know, like and it's just like nobody cared when he did the 720. Like why is it that the 900 all of a sudden everyone's like what, and then all like even the people that didn't care about like skateboarding like tune in and be like, oh, I gotta watch this, Like I
Hmm.
feel like there is that tipping point and we're coming right up against it because like at certain point, like past 55, now you're past the speed limit that is actually allowed in a lot of the places in the US. And you're gonna get to that point where people are like, you're actually breaking the speed limit on an electric unicycle. Like I feel like we're coming right up against it at some point. People will be like, it goes from like this is impressive to like this is absolutely mind blowing, and I got to tell my friend all about it.
Yeah, I, I'm trying to relate it to EV. I feel like maybe I don't know how well received it was like around the world, but like when the Cybertruck came out, I
Yep.
think people more paid attention to Elon's game. But before that, we kind of already were seeing that like their, I don't know what it is, forgive me, but like the Model 3 or something, one of these things were like blowing other sports cars, like high end
Yeah.
sports cars off the line. And they were like,
Yep.
what? An EV is doing this? That's crazy. So I feel like
Yeah.
it's kind of a similar thing was happening with them. Like, oh, now we should all. Recently, if you didn't know, I'm kind of like a Elon Musk fan, but um, I respect his genius and what he's brought to the table as far as electricity goes.
Hmm.
Morally, I don't know. But so he was asked in an interview, why should we or should we not take these EV subsidies that Joe Biden wants to give everybody, all these companies and stuff? And he was just like, well, I don't think we need it, you know? And they were like, well, you don't think we need an infrastructure plan that helps build electric charging stations, you know, across the U.S., like really installs them? And he goes, no. And they were like, why? And he was like, I mean, he didn't say it this like dickish, but I'm going to say it that way. He's like, I basically built up the entire EV infrastructure in the US that it is so far, and we didn't have any help from the government. So I don't need it now. Now we're here at this point. Like we've done it, you know? So
Yeah.
I think this industry is going to do something kind of similar. I hope, right? That's what you're hoping, Sean. I know you're banking on the tipping point happening
Well,
for all this.
so the thing that Elon did that was really, really, really smart is that he like recognized he's just like, if I want EV to take off, it has to be like absolutely like amazing and blow people away because before Tesla, like when you think of an electric car, you think efficiency, you think like, like cheap, it doesn't, cost like less, all of those things which, like the tree huggers love, but the majority of the public just like, I don't care, like I don't care if I have to pay like 30, 40, $50 to fill up. Like it's not, efficiency, range is not, does not excite people.
Right.
Like raw speed gets attention. So he knew
Hmm.
this. That's why he started with a roadster and he built something that blew everything else away and just be like, this is the EV that will outperform any gas car. And right there, people are like, that is cool. And he
Yeah.
made it super expensive and people still bought into it. Like he was focusing on building that hype because he wanted, like, he understood that the most important thing is for the like for EV to spread as an idea. And for that to
Hmm.
happen, you have to have something mind blowing. So, and I feel the same for EUCs. Like you may not need 60 miles an hour, you may not need 70 miles an hour, but we need it at that speed so it blows people's mind and the idea will
Hmm.
spread.
This is the question that
And
has been asked multiple times in this stream so far. I kind of haven't hit it, but you just nailed it. Why? What someone said? What is the obsession with the top speed? Well, we sort of, for better or for worse, we need it to get more mass adoption. If that's what you guys all claim you want, there's got to be that wow moment that makes other people buy into it. Right every summer, guys. We're seeing more and more people get into
oh
this
yeah.
thing. In New
Oh
York,
yeah.
I think the whole landscape shifted. Every summer, there's like, who are these idiots? You know, like there's a whole new crew of people that show up. That's a good
and
thing.
and there's something magical about like numbers, right? Like
Mm.
60 miles an hour is just okay, but for the rest of the metric world, that's 100 kilometers an hour, a nice
Hmm.
whole number, and you're just
Yes.
like 100 kilometers an hour, and there's something magical about that, and people were just like, on a unicycle, are you for
Yeah.
real? Like it just
Right.
like
Any
you know
anything over 30. Anything over 30 has got people all excited. Every time I mention it, um, like you said, you go off the paper number. I actually usually go off of the top speed. Like it was what Brian's was what 53 or 52 and V's was 53 on the Sherman. So I was
Okay.
like, well, so I'm like, well, that one will do 53, and I think didn't they get to 55 on the Monster Pro? And I'm like,
I
that one will do 55.
What did the person in
Eh,
South America do? You know, there's that one clip out there. The person they
Yeah,
just have the speedometer on their arm.
I think that's what it was. I think it was 55.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that one will do 53, that'll do 55, and they're like, huh? And it's like, and then they go, no way, and I go, well, I don't do that on it, but it'll do it. You know,
Right.
I don't tell them that it's better if someone lighter than me does it.
Well, it's like cars, and I think too many times we don't compare them to cars enough, and other times we compare it too much. But
Yeah.
someone pointed out, a little bit to this here in the comment section about cars can actually exceed the speed, like their actual speed that a car can do, or a motorcycle or whatever, any kind of automobile can go faster than the speed limit, right? Like around town, wherever you live, chances are the highest speed limit on regular roads is like 45. You go on a highway in America, it's probably like 70 miles an hour at top, right? Someplace 60, 65, whatever. But like, your car can do like usually 100 at least, right? Like, Cobra, what's your truck or whatever you drive? What's its top?
I think it's 140.
Yeah. Have you ever
I
gone
think
140 on your truck?
no, but close. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
but but I feel like people just equate speed to quality. Like, why is
Yes.
it that like a brand new Honda Civics has a top speed of like 120? Like, it's a Civic, it's a family sedan. Ain't nobody buying that car is going to do 120. But they have to put it up there because people equate speed with like quality. If they said, okay,
Mm,
a Civic is capable of top speed of 80, people would be like, what is wrong with this car? Like, am I going to be able to do 60 safely? Like, is it gonna fall apart when I get to 75? Like, people
Yep.
just like speed equals quality and everything, and it's just like people want to see that speed up. They want to know what it is. That's why the first thing people ask you whenever they see the wheel is how fast does it go? Because that is to then a gauge that
yeah.
measures everything about like a vehicle.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a truck like that. My first car, it was like this. It was a 1987 Jimmy, if you guys know what that vehicle is.
Yeah.
And its top speed was 80. So when I'm 65 on a highway, everyone in the car is like, "Is this gonna stay in one piece on the highway?" Like you can feel it kind of shaking.
Yeah. Well, the now I just want to say it again to the people who are in the chat, people who are watching. Some are informed and some of the uninformed. We are not here pushing 55 miles an hour, 56 miles an hour. We're not saying for people to go that fast. All we're saying is, and the reason, and those who ride a lot, where I'm going. We like those speeds because anything under is comfortable. Anything under is doable. Anything under is safe. If I can hit 55, I know I can ride 45 without thinking about it. I'm not concerned that, oh, shoot, it might cut out. Now, riding the EX, when I was pushing 42, I was like, oh my God, 43. I was like, oh shit, it's going to cut off because it really was close to cutting off.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas these more powerful wheels, that's why we're looking for so much more because we want to be able to do it safely. And that's really the key, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like there's also I tell people all the time, like when you're riding, you should be mindful of your battery percentage. I like to live by the nifty 50 rule. So like if I'm coming around 50% battery, I start to really pay attention and focus. So right now it's pretty cold in New York, and the other day I went to visit a friend on the way to doing some errands just to say hello. But mainly I stopped to charge for a couple minutes at his place because I was like at like 78 volts on my V12 that day, and so
Ooh.
I was like, let me stop by for a couple minutes and fast charge at his place, so because I was like, I'm sure I'm fine, but if let's say I'm in traffic and there's a car and I just want to kind of zoom up and get around it or whatever, or it's like a
Yep.
safety maneuver. I don't want to play that game in the battery sag cold.
Mm,
I'm like, let me just
yep.
get back to like 95 volts or something.
Yeah. There's an effect there, and if you don't realize and recognize, you will pay for it. The 16x cut out on me because of that. I wasn't calculating correctly. So, I don't blame the wheel. You know, Low battery. I was only like 30% battery, and I was seated, pushing it a little bit. Went over a big bump, trying to accelerate to pass people, and I weigh a lot. The wheel couldn't do it all.
Right.
The
When
wheel
they
tapped out.
when they list those specs, like Jason on his site will put like what is the max weight. I've been trying to convince him for years to list that as the max axle weight. That's what it is. It's not the max gyro weight. So if you weigh 220 or something, I think you're probably around there, Cobra, right?
230.
230. Like if the wheel says it can handle 250, that's just the axle. Like, can you stand on this thing without it falling apart underneath you? Sure, 250, great. So you're good. But like, what if you're pushing hard into a lean on a 16x or something,
Mm-hmm.
and you hit a speed bump and you're at 46%
Mm-hmm.
battery? What's There's a little more involved there about like how much power is
Yeah.
left and can to be put into the motor to keep you up, but like that kind of thing, there should be a way to figure out, okay,
Yeah.
how much can you weigh and then safely take this thing out and go ripping around.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot to it, but that's a calculation I think people need to make on their own. Make sure you buy something that says it can handle a lot of weight. Then also think about how big the battery is, how big you are, what's going on, what you're doing at the time. You got to keep that stuff. Well, that's why you buy a Sherman or a big boy wheel, Monster Pro or something. That's why you buy
Mm-hmm.
bigger wheels, so those calculations don't have to be made as precisely. You
Yeah.
have a little play.
And I've been telling people for years, they're like, should I get a Sherman as a first wheel? And I'm like on record of being ostracized for saying no. Do
Yeah, no,
not
we
buy
say
that as a
no.
first wheel. And they're like,
Yeah.
you're a
So,
dick. I'm like,
no, Melody just said that in the comments too.
yeah, I
She's
put it
like,
up. I put it up here on the screen.
"Oh, you did? Yeah. Stop
Yeah,
telling people to buy Sherman as their first wheel. Yeah, I don't think that should be your
it's a
first wheel.
bad deal for a lot of reasons,
Yeah.
but also like you don't need that kind of power. Like just figuring out the muscle memory, when you're learning to ride, your legs when it starts to fall over, now you've got to contend with what is it, 80 something pounds. Like when I learned on a 14-inch wheel, it didn't weigh all that much, so it's just a whole different game.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
make it harder to learn. Yeah, it's really, yeah, I agree with that. It's not like I actually heard from people that tried that and then like actually, did not get into riding an EUC because they thought it was like, man, are they all this terrible to ride? And it's just like, no, you should have started with something that is lighter and easier to maneuver. Like this kind of ruined your learning experience.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't want that. That's the one thing about what we do. It's fun. It's so exhilarating. And I try to explain that to people because they keep asking me, like, really, with the stuff you do in your life, why do you take the risk and do this as well? And I'm like, just try it because the fun factor is through the roof. There is nothing that can really explain the exhilaration until you get your ass on one and you're going 30 miles an hour and you're like, oh my God.
It's microdosing adrenaline, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Somebody was
Exactly.
asking someone who said they're newer to this. They said, I'm under the impression that top speed also indicates torque and range. So if I plan to cruise at half that speed, I just get good acceleration and braking and range. Is that right? What do you think, Sean?
Um, yeah, I mean, it does it it's a difficult question to answer because each
Mhm.
wheel is balanced differently. Like, I used to think that there's a direct relationship between those, but it's not always the case. Like, EXN is probably like the best example. Like that wheel just chew through its pack like there's no tomorrow. Like
Right.
you think that like, man, this thing has, decent sides. Like what was it, 2400? Like, or is it 28? I forgot. But like you
I think
think
it's
it has
28.
yeah,
It's three
it's a
packs.
decent sized pack, but like I mean, I burned through that battery in like 20 miles. Like if you really full tilting into it, it just go through it. And that's 100 volt. Like this is the other reason why I think the Master Boy, man, that thing is going to be rough on its battery pack.
Yeah, I think a lot of us in New York are waiting for the high speed version of the Master. I think the torque motor is going to eat that range so badly, but I think I'm a minority in this, but I don't think anybody should need a high torque wheel unless you live in San Francisco. But I feel like all the others, if it works out, it works out. Like if it's under power, it's under power. But a high speed seems to be safer, and I don't know how much you really need that high torque situation. Maybe it's my incredible bias towards speed.
Well, I mean, uh, uh, weight. As a heavy dude, I think about the fact that the torque wheels are usually safer.
Mm,
They can take more before you can cut them out.
right,
Um, and I know that high speed is usually the preference of people, and but my thing is usually the torque simply because of that. I'm heavy, and I know that I put weight on the wheel, and when I ride, I'm carving, I'm going through. I want to go through the woods. I want to jump. I want to hit this. I want to do that. I want to do all kinds of shit on top of being heavy. So I'm like, okay, this wheel has to have some torque. That's why the Monster Pro, it has the speed but not the torque.
right.
It's different. So I still get nervous. Even though my crash was a malfunction, I still worry about the wheel itself because it's not really high torque. It's got the speed, not the torque. So I worry about it.
Right.
You gotta really learn to read your motor, man. Like that's the crucial skill that unfortunately take like just miles and miles and hundreds and thousands of miles to learn because there is no readout, there's nothing for you to stare at. You just have to be able to tell how your motor is doing based on the feedback you get from your feet. If you feel that motor going soft, then you're on the edge of trouble, and like you can't rely on anything. You like even if you have a freaking readout right in front of you, depends on temperature, depends on battery percentage, depends on slope, depends on terrain. It all changes. So it's like if you can't tell if you're close to the threshold and you're about to go and the wheel is about to cut out. I mean, this is only the case for Galway. Everything else has a tilt back and this and that, so it's a little bit better. But when it comes to Gotway, it's really like you have to know, and it's like if you can't tell, then you should never come anywhere close to the edge. Like
I think
you should not.
veterans in the same camp. I can feel when I've taken the Sherman up to 50. I did it over a longer stretch in what we call cutout tunnel, and I took it up gradually, right? I didn't just slam it to 50, right? So that's another thing out of all the lists you just
Mm-hmm.
rattled off, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I felt the motor. Only guys who've taken wheels to top speed know this, but what happens is um, it starts to feel just like only way I can describe it is like a little less tight. Like magnets start to feel like just less tight, and then right before, well, especially on Gotways, you'll feel this little like nose like dip, like a horse just putting its head down, and that's when you go, hey, and you pull back. But I could totally feel the Sherman. I didn't get the dip, thankfully, but I could feel it. Just all of a sudden, just felt like the magnets were just looser to some mild degree. I mean, you really can feel when you get in tune with it like this. You can really feel it. You're like, it feels this stiffness, and then all of a sudden, you're like, what was that? What was
Right, it
that?
starts to go soft on you.
Yeah. You'll notice when I ride like like I'm dancing, like I'm like like I ease into it like I carve and I ease into it. You
Yeah.
won't you won't see this big dude doing a Michael Jackson lean on a wheel. It's just not happening for me. I don't think big guys should do that. It's just that's a lot on a wheel, and ease into it and just make. And plus, there's something dynamic about that feeling. Uh, I mean, I'm a dancer too, so for me, I feel like I'm really dancing on it, and it's heaven. It's heaven. And Archie said it. You feel like you're flying. You really do. I, that's why I end up with my arms out by my side sometimes because I really feel like I'm flying. The closest thing to flying while still be on the ground.
Yeah, somebody was saying that they snowmobile, and this is like a good summertime version of that. Yeah, any kind of sport like that. There's that whole documentary about the inner ear. There's that guy in like Muscle Beach in California who rides around on one leg on like a rollerblade. Have you seen this? It's like a little mini doc. It's on. You can find it on YouTube. But he figured out that that sort of little euphoric feeling you get from movement, like on a roller coaster or whatever else, is due to your inner ear. And he found he doesn't have to go that fast to trigger it. And so he's like, an oddity now in Southern California where he rides around slow as molasses on one leg on a rollerblade all around the beach. Like, I'm sure Melody has seen this guy probably at some point, but it's very weird to see this guy. But he's known and kind of beloved, but he figured out that it was just like when you make your inner ear fall off balance enough to where you get that euphoria, that's what we're all loving and chasing. But he doesn't need to go 55, I guess, to do it.
Yeah. Vibe said, what did he say? He said, on my Sherman, 235 pounds, I got it on video almost cutting out, did the dip.
Yeah,
Yeah, dip.
don't
That's
do
the
the dip.
dangerous dip.
So what do you guys think? I don't know if we asked you. Well, it was probably earlier on Cobra stream. Which of the new suspension wheels are you thinking you'll either buy or at least most want to try?
Real talk, Coochie who.
You said it, Cobra.
Yeah, no, for
Dang
real,
it.
guys. Put as far as suspension goes, which wheel are you gonna get, or would you get? Throw it in there. Throw it in the chat. Which suspension wheel? S20, S20,
Okay, that's
S20.
yours, S20. So you're still okay. So after all we discussed, you're still most. I'm not saying you wouldn't ride the others, but you're most
Yep.
excited about the S20.
Yes. Yes. The master has yet to be seen, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not convinced that they can produce what they're saying, and I'm not convinced it's going to be safe yet. So,
Hmm.
in my mind, the S20 all day.
All right. What do you think, Sean?
I can tell you that I am convinced that the master is not going to be safe. But I still want to try it the most out of all the wheels. That is the insanity.
I am totally free to change my tune minute to minute if Gotway can make a wheel minute to minute. But I, as of now, am most excited about the Master. 4 days ago I would have said the S20, but now it's the Master. But we'll see. It's anyone's game, so to speak. But I'm curious to see for myself. Because I do reviews on these. What will I, after trying them, really gravitate towards? Like, will
Mhm.
the amenities and the build quality and whatever comes with the S20 sway me, or will the peak performance and potential fireball of the Master sway me?
Hadouken!
I don't know. Stay tuned to my channel. Like, subscribe, comment. No, but I'll put out videos and you guys can see for yourself what I end up liking. But I'm very curious of super nerdy level. Like, yeah, which
Yeah.
which of these will I really gravitate towards? But on YouTube paper, so to speak, right now, of what we're seeing, the Master is kind of taking the cake and the crown for me.
Yeah. It really
It's
is. It really is. I
It's like the hottest, most popular girl in high school asks you out to a date, and you're just like, I don't know if this is real. I think this is a trick. I think she and her friends are gonna wait around the corner, throw me in a dumpster, and mess me up. But you know what? We gotta try this out, man. We gotta try this out. We don't know. Maybe it'll happen.
yeah, look,
I've been
I
burned
I
there.
am I'm hopeful, Mickey. I'm hopeful that you're right. I'm hopeful that they can do it. But if I am betting, I'm still going S20 just because, if nothing more than the commercials they put out.
I can make a better one.
No, I
Um,
know. Listen, Mickey, I know you can. I'm not saying that they're. I'm not saying that they're like Hollywood level, but in the world of EUC,
hmm
no one does it like they did.
As far as what?
The rollout, the way that
Oh,
they presented it, the way that they made
wh-
you excited about it.
it was kind of botched though, right? Like it was
I
segmented. It was like the best.
still,
The first thing we had
still
was, hold on. Let me push back a little bit. Sean,
go ahead.
not Sean. Jack came on my live stream. That was the
Hmm.
first real big thing we saw. Then they
Hmm.
kind of put out some little videos here and there, but I feel like I don't know. It was just kind of stretched out. I think it was good. I'm not saying it was bad, but I don't feel like it was like groundbreaking. I don't know.
You don't think it was groundbreaking comparatively?
I think the wheel is groundbreaking. I don't know that
No, no.
they're.
I'm not talking about just but okay. Think about when we are right now, and I say
Mhm.
when we are in the middle of a crisis when it comes to shipping parts and being able to get supplies. So no one is bringing anything quickly.
Yeah,
That
I mean
being
that's true.
said, if you go back to what they did, their idea, having Jack talk about it, then coming out with that great intro, and then doing follow-up videos, and now they have this one that just came out. I'm just saying, compared to the others, they're doing it well.
I'll agree, but also say that's a pretty freaking low bar.
Uh,
Compared to, you guys see the new video we put out from Gotway? um, I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, the S20 on paper and what we've seen so far looks incredibly promising. I won't disagree with that. I think the videos help sell that for sure.
Yeah.
I think they're not on the wrong track. Um, the master though, it's just what Sean said. It's like 143 volts or what 34 volts or whatever it is.
34, 134
Look at
volts.
me. I'm like it's 43 now.
Right. Stop making up stuff, Nikki. I know you
when
wanted
it,
to
when
win,
it,
but don't.
so when it comes to availability, I think Gotway does have the advantage of having nobody bought any of their wheel for the past year, so they have plenty of capacity manufactured. Like they're like,
Yeah.
we're ready to make this wheel right now, sir. We've been just all sitting here waiting because we got nothing to do.
Yeah, they're like, oh, chips. We've got plenty of chips laying around. MOSFETs, capacitors. It's all
We got
here.
everything.
Right.
We got everything. Oh my
Um,
god.
well, I mean, I
Okay.
feel like we've kind of said a lot. I don't know. It's been like almost 2 hours now. Is there any last words you guys want to put out there?
Well, hold on a second. Willie Dope is saying
What do you
it's
say?
only been a few weeks since the emotion hype. I think they're more concerned with fixing the MOSFET issue. All we saw were renders of the S20 for months. Yeah, emotion is definitely on its heels because of trying to fix the V12. Because I do believe that the V13 would have more out as far as videos or announcements or whatever. But I do think they put it on hold for a minute while they try and fix what's going on with the V12, which I like. And speaking of that, somebody in the comments earlier had asked, he said, I'm not sure if I missed it, but are they offering boards for the issues? And yes, if you go to your distributor, from what I understand, if you had that cutout problem, then you can they'll send it to you, or you can send it back and they can fix it. However, but yeah, just hit them up and they'll take care of it because Emotion is trying to do right by people.
Which, if you didn't know, at first they were trying to just suggest that the dealers solder new MOSFETs on.
Mm.
And I think all the dealers collectively were like, here's a big F you. Are you kidding me? Just send us. I get what Emotion was thinking. Why waste a whole PCB when we can have you just soldering MOSFETs on?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to be safe, because we don't, right? You don't know what the heck else happened after you cut out. So you got to be safe to probably put a new one on there.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be no, just new one. Just give me a new one. Just give me a new
Yeah.
one. So yeah, I am I again I appreciate everybody jumping in because I am so upset that mine didn't work. And you know what's funny, Mickey, is I ordered that new computer also on top of it. Not that it was the computer, I know it was the software, but um it comes in 2 days. and
Yeah, it
then
was definitely the
I
software.
and then I update the software and this stupid thing happens. I'm like, come on.
Well,
So
you should have learned from me and Sean's embarrassment
yeah.
that don't ever try new things the day of. Right?
Yeah.
It's like golden rule of production.
Well, the thing is that they do it all the time. Every time I queue up um, Ecamm, there's a new update, and I have so
Yep.
far I've never had an issue. I'm like, oh wow, great, another update. It's always been such a positive thing, and now I'm like,
If
how
it
is
ain't
it?
broke, don't
What?
fix it.
Well, it is broke. That's the thing. There was a lot of stuff that they keep fixing. When you
Mm.
read their notes, I'm like, oh okay, good, fix
No,
that.
but
Oh
were
yeah,
you?
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
fix
think you
that.
were having a problem, really.
No,
That's what I'm
I've
saying.
never
Your
had. I
stuff
was
wasn't broke, so don't try to fix it.
You're right. You're right. I was
Um,
so surprised. I was like, what? So anyway,
if you guys are
thanks,
still
Mickey.
here, yeah, totally. We helped save it. If you're still here, we're 84 strong now. If you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and hit it. See if we can get from 72 likes to 80. Now it's 83. Can we get 10 more
80,
likes?
80,
Yeah,
80,
let's at least get to
80.
80. See if you can hit that like button. Yeah, we saved the stream. Good
Yes.
times. Everyone had a good time. Good turnout, right? So
Yeah. Great turnout.
yeah, thank
Uh,
you to everybody who came
Yeah.
out.
yeah. I'm hoping that they have it fixed by next week. If so, maybe I'll do something then. If not, I'll do it the week after.
I would say roll it back. Just go back to the previous
Yeah.
version of the software, and then just wait. I'm sure
Yeah.
you can read on the forums in the meantime.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
gonna be contacting them.
you ruined my stream.
I'm gonna say, here, you go ahead and watch this, and you tell me what the hell.
Yeah. Thank
So
you to Sean as well for hanging out with us.
Nice
Um,
chatting with you guys and letting me rent.
listen, it's the least we can do for the number one YouTuber in the EUC
Oh
space.
my god.
ooh, 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 ooh.
That sends a shudder down my spine.
As it should, because you've been teasing us all with one wheel videos, you traitor.
Best wheel ever.
Oh Lord.
I
Okay,
know.
best go-kart wheel ever.
Yeah. Maybe it's good for the snow. Who knows? You should take your one wheel out in the snow. Let us do a video on that.
There you go.
I'm gonna try to hit 10 miles an hour.
Yeah, woo.
That would be the
Hey,
extreme riding.
don't push it.
All right. Well, thank
Push it.
you. Thank you to everybody who came out. These are all your fans, Cobra. They would never come out for me. So this is
Oh,
here's
you're
here's
crazy.
to you.
This is all of our fans. I appreciate you guys. And for those of you who don't know, we didn't mention it tonight like we usually do, but Mickey and I keep playing VR. So if you're in VR, find us.
Yeah. What's your handle? It's really hard to remember.
The Black Cobra.
We got to get Sean to get one too.
Yeah, Oculus Quest 2, buddy.
That's it, right behind me,
Yeah. So
right there.
you
can
guys
see
have
it.
a great night. I really appreciate everybody that jumped in. This has been fantastic as always. Love. We'll all continue
Whoa.
making content and we will continue coming to you because we love what we do.
Thank you so much. And we hit 88 miles an hour or likes. I mean, so thank you so much.
Now we can go back to the future.
That's right. All right. Thank you guys so much. And
All
as
right.
none of us say, but I always say, keep riding, never stop.
Keep it real.